Yeah, so there was a bit abrupt ending to the previous video, but what I ended with saying was that the vulnerable part within the subpersonality, which holds our sensitivity, holds our intimacy, is often pushed away by the protector, by the controller within. Because as children, we learned after some time that it wasn't quite safe. It didn't feel quite safe to be so sensitive and to be so vulnerable in this world. We weren't always received with love, with understanding. We weren't always in a holding space, in an environment where we could allow this incredible sensitivity that we had to be. And so we developed this other part, which is a protection mechanism to avoid being so sensitive. And that helped us survive. However, it also made us shut down and become habitual and become less alive. So in a way, as adults, the journey goes the other way. To invite in, to give more space for the vulnerable part within. And to disidentify a bit from that part which is so fearful of showing any form of vulnerability, of even acknowledging that this part exists within, this hurt, vulnerable, scared part, which at the same time holds our capacity for love, for sensitivity, for intimacy, for contact, which makes relating truly nourishing and satisfying. So often we have this battle within between the protector-controller part and the sensitive hurt part. We also have a couple of other inner children as subpersonalities. We have the magical child with fantasy, creativity, and we have the playful, joyful child within. So to what extent do you allow these parts, the inner children, to have space in your daily life? And especially, do you allow vulnerability to be expressed, to be shown, and even to be felt? The thing is, when we suppress those parts, they come out in sneaky ways. For instance, they shift into another personality, subpersonality, which is the demanding, entitled one. I demand to be seen, heard. I demand my rights. I demand from others what I didn't get as a child. Especially in relationship, if we have disavowed our inner hurt child, inner sensitive child, we tend to look for love, for acknowledgement, to be seen, heard from our partner, but in ways which aren't quite from a place of vulnerability, more from a place of criticism and demand. And instead of getting what we want, we get some kind of reaction in return. So we learn in voice dialogue that it is my job, first of all, to embrace my vulnerable child. I am the one who needs to be the parent for these parts, and to say hello to them and to invite them in and to celebrate these parts. The vulnerable one, the playful one, the magical one, and so on. So we have the subpersonalities and we have the aware person. And then we have a third position, which is the pure witness or pure consciousness or pure space. So imagine you have all these subpersonalities placed in front of you, dozens of them. You have the position of yourself, your aware self, the agent of action, the agent of choice, the one who is living life consciously as a human being. And then you have our nature as pure consciousness, as pure presence. So you can imagine this as a third position behind, that is witnessing the game of life, and which is not engaged, which is non-attached, which is not doing anything. It's simply watching life unfold. There is no choice, there is no action happening from the position of pure awareness. So that's the model of voice dialogue. So we have this in-between position, which I find extremely useful if you want to integrate spirituality in a normal human life. You could say the pure awareness position, pure space or pure presence, is our spiritual dimension. Has no definition, has no age, has no story, is free, has no fear. All those feelings and all the life stories belong to the subpersonalities. And yet we are human beings living a human life, and my interest and the interest in Zen coaching is how to integrate normal human living with the dimension of presence, consciousness, holding. I call it, we are the holding space for all of experience. So this holding space that we are, this presence, is the freedom, is the peace we're looking for. And at the human dimension, we are also a human being. We are an individual human being, even if we're not separate from other human beings. And to work on this in-between position, you could call it, is the journey of maturing as a human being. And here we follow in Zen coaching the teaching of Alma's of the Diamond Approach, where the concept and the teaching of the personal essence is key. So you could say there is a true person of being. There is a individual soul, individual being, human being, me as a human being, who is not separate from others and yet is individual, and who is able to connect, to have contact on an individual, personal level. This quality of personal contact as a spiritual quality, as a quality of being. So something outside of personality and yet person in the sense of the person of being, as opposed to the person of ego, the personality. So this dimension is something we honor a lot in the work of Zen coaching, and nourish and remind people that this dimension actually exists, the personal essence. And in the teaching of Alma's, this develops into what he calls the pearl beyond price. We are like a diamond. A pearl, our human being as a person is like a pearl that develops over time, matures and grows by integrating different qualities of being, such as strength, peace, joy, creativity, value, meaning, etc. So you can imagine that these subpersonalities are representatives of many of these qualities of being. And as we become more conscious of the subpersonalities, we realize that each of them has certain qualities of being, certain essence qualities, which are more predominant, and each of them are highly useful. For instance, most of us, we have a rational subpersonality, a commentator, a thinker, who makes rational decisions. Now, if this part runs our life completely, we have not much access to playfulness, to sensitivity, to wildness, but it's one important part, rationality. And there is an essence quality in there which is called, in the teaching of Alma's, brilliancy, essence of intelligence. It is not only a capacity of the biological being that we are, psychological being that we are, it is a spiritual quality, a quality of being, of presence. And when we are in touch with this essence of intelligence, we have this sparkling quality which sees connections effortlessly between many things. There's a sparkle and there's a clarity of seeing related to human living, related to functioning. Everything functions better. So that's a different kind of intelligence than the one which is thinking, trying to make rational decisions. And we can find it within that subpersonality as well as in others. So those were some of the key aspects of voice dialogue as it applies to Zen coaching. And to say a few more words about how this relates to the purpose of Zen coaching. So as I see it, the purpose of Zen coaching is the purpose of life as I see it, which is to live increasingly the life of essence, of being. To live as the being we are. We are not human doings. We are not human thinkers, first of all. We are human beings. And to live this nature of being that we are, to know it, to sense it, to feel it, to explore it, to open for it, to integrate it, and to live it. And in the process, we meet various obstacles, blockages. We've covered it up. We have created defense mechanism. We have lost touch with many of these qualities, such as curiosity. Our school system have not exactly nourished genuine curiosity for most of us. Compassion, love. So many of these things get twisted. Love gets twisted into pleasing, and curiosity gets twisted into wanting to have all the answers, for instance, being the expert. So we will meet the blockages the way we've covered it up, and there will be a lot of feelings there that will surface, difficult feelings. Now, in the work of Zen coaching, we meet every difficult feeling with compassion, with openness, and with curiosity, with inquiry. So using voice dialogue is a support of this compassionate, allowing, curious, inquiring way of relating to life and to relating to who we are. If you are interested in knowing more about Zen coaching, please visit the Zen coaching website, zencoaching.com. Here you will find various resources, tools, articles, videos, and you will also see the opportunities you have to join the Zen coaching training, which is presently offered in Sweden and in Poland. And you will also be able to connect with the larger network of trained coaches. We have hundreds of people around the world who have done the Zen coaching training, and maybe you would like to try a session for yourself. Thank you for watching this video, and enjoy your moment.